Guys, I just got back from the store. It's me again. Hello. And my pot is on 1 hour 20. That means low L. 1 hour 20 means it's been in there for natural releasing for 1 hour and 20 minutes. So I just went to the store and I came back and I opened up this pot and I took the meat out. Look at this meat. This is like chicken salad meat. It's not bad flavor. I mean, you could use it for chicken salad. It's pretty used up though. Yeah. Anyway, these bones. Check the bones out. Crush. Just like that. And these feet, yeah, they came out too. It scared me because I didn't remember I put them in there. And I pulled out one of these thighs and it had extra on it. And I was like, what did I do? And then I remembered I put all these in there. But they've got bones in them, but the bones are totally crushable. So your dog could probably have them. I'm not going to reuse them. Looks like you might be able to because they're so gelatinous. They could probably go for a little bit longer or for something else. But I'm sorry I blew the video when I first opened it up. It was really pretty. This is a nice rich broth. Let me get... Oh, he's dirty. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna skim the fat off of this. And I think I've got a good 8 cups of broth. And so if you figure $2 for half of that package, $2 and something for half that package plus 8 cups of water, that makes pretty cheap broth. And I'm gonna make two different batches of soups with this. I'm gonna make, I think I'm gonna do the cabbage type soup tonight, maybe use some more chicken in it. And then try this recipe that I got going in my head because we went to a restaurant called Swan last night. Look at that broth. That is so much richer than the broth, Swanson broth, if you're going to compare it to that. And it tastes really good. It's just a simple broth. You can always strain it if you want to, but I don't usually. I just deal with it the way it is. But I am going to take the fat off of there. So like I was saying, tonight, maybe not tonight, but maybe tomorrow, maybe tonight, I don't know. Anyway, we went to that restaurant last night called Swan, and they had, that's here in Texas, in Austin, and it's a Thai restaurant, and they had this stuff called braised pork. Braised pork, but it's got some names on it that I can't recognize. Anyway, it's the sauce that goes with it. Thai chilies, lime, fish sauce, lime juice, and garlic in it. So it makes a really nice sauce. And I'm thinking I might add some of that. Shh, come on. Gail might need to help me. How do you say, Chowking? Anyway, this is like sherry. So I might add some of that to that sauce. But what they do is, I mean, it's just braised pork with rice. And the rice is Calrose rice, and it's cooked right in the broth with it, but it's not quite as watery as like juke. I think that's what it's called. Not quite that watery, but the rice is nice and tender. You can still tell it's Calrose. It's not mushy. And the pork is chunks of pork like that, which is braising is super easy in this thing. I'm gonna saute it up here, add some onions and garlic, and I'm gonna replicate that. as close as I can, and I bet you my husband won't be able to tell the difference, but it was really good, and it was $22 for a bowl. So, I mean, it's nice to go out, but if I can get that, it was really good. If I can get that, I'm going to write a recipe for it and let y'all have it. Okay, see you later. All right, I'm back. So it's soup time. I don't know if you can see me or not up here. Yeah, maybe not. Anyway, I'm not that important in here. This is more for, try that. Y'all know what the Instant Pot is. It's over there. So this is kind of how I make soup. I don't usually use a recipe. I just put together what I want in it. And today, I said I was going to make some cabbage soup. So there's a couple things I want to show because there's new people that have gotten the air fryer lid that goes with this Dual Crisp, or they've got the Pro Crisp or whatever. But because I don't want all the fat going into my soup with the chicken if I put raw chicken on top of it, like I'm going to show you how to do, and use the air fryer lid to just start the cooking process. I'm just going to load the pot up, put all my veggies in there, lay the chicken on top, air fry for a nice crisp top, and then I'm going to trade tops out and swap it with the pressure cooker top and cook it from all in this pot. Okay, but I'm gonna, excuse me, also I'm gonna brown some chicken in here, and I've got the fat that came off of the top of the broth that I made earlier, so I'm gonna put a little bit of that in this frying pan to do the rest of the chicken up. But meanwhile, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this up. So look, I got over 8 cups. So I got about 9 cups of broth. If you add the broth that's underneath there and all of this, it's at little, maybe even over 9. So I'm just gonna use about 4 of those in here. 4 cups of broth. I know you can't see the pot, and I'm sorry about that. That's close. Again, it doesn't have to be exactamundo, but I'm going to keep some of this out because I want to make that pork stuff. So I don't know if you guys ever do this, but this is how I chop my celery for soup. I just rinse the top of it really good, and then I cut what I want. So this is going to be cabbage soup, and I'm going to put probably 1.5 cups of celery in because it's one of those really low calorie foods. So that's about 1.5 cups. So this is how I do it. I'm not gonna let it all pile up because I need some room. Okay, so putting that celery in. This doesn't need a particular order because it's got so much broth in it. You can use the food processor to get your vegetables cut up, or use your garlic press or whatever. I just do whatever I'm feeling like doing that day, the moment. Okay, so garlic is going in. Onion. I don't know if I'm going to use all of that other onion, but I usually have parts of onions laying around, and I like to use those first. So that's what I'm doing here. Okay. Chop, chop, chop. And when you're making soup, when I'm making soup, I like chunks of stuff in it. So this is going to have chunked onion. Okay, so that's, what is that? Not quite a cup. These are Vidalia type or sweet onions. That's what it said at Walmart this time. I don't usually buy them there. I usually get them at Costco. But, so altogether, this is 1.5 small onions. Sounds kind of one of those that grows 2 onions in one thing. I grew onions in my garden. I did the Walla Walla sweets in there. And you'd never know, you know, from what you see in the grocery store, they're all perfect, but they do grow differently. All right, so, ooh, it's gonna get me. I'm gonna be, onions don't like me, so I'll be sniffling and crying by the time it's over. And I don't think I'm gonna use all of that in there, even though it doesn't really matter that much. That's about 1.5 cups, maybe just a little bit more. Onions, onions, onions. One day we went for a drive, or we were driving home from Idaho, and my husband was going to get a phone call, and at the same time we were turning onto the freeway, I saw some onions on the side of the road, and I'm like, what? But it just happened to be onion season. And so I said, pull over, and we're pulling over onto the ramp. And so he pulls over and takes his car, and I hop out, and I get my shirt, my sweatshirt, and I pile onions in there. And I picked up about 17 onions, nice onions, off the side of the road. Took them home. It took us a day to get home, so we had to leave them in our car, and they smelled up our car. Anyway, so there goes those onions. And I think that's about 2 cups of onions. I'm going to throw in these green beans. It's probably 1/2 cup of that. But anyway, so because some of them were bruised, I needed to get them up right away. So I decided to freeze them, and I chopped them all up. And my husband came in, and he took a video of me just slobbering because I was cutting up all these onions that I didn't want to go to waste. But honestly, I froze them all. And we got these great big carrots, like almost twice that size. This is a big carrot, right? Because they come from Mexico, and there's a place here that sells them, and I love them because they don't have that musty smell. Anyway, so the onions, I went and got, it was still season for those called Big Ugly carrots. So I got 25 pounds of those, and I chopped them all up, and I put them in the freezer, and then I had to go get celery to chop that up and put it in the freezer. So I had my mirepoix already done and in the freezer for any soups and things that I wanted to make. And man, I used those things up in about 3 months. I think they were gone by January, and this was fall time when I got them. So if you have room in your freezer and you don't care if your veggies are frozen, you don't have to blanch carrots and blanch celery to throw it in, and you don't have to blanch the onion either to throw it in the freezer. So that's what I did. I had gallon-sized baggies full of it, and learned a valuable lesson at that point in my life. And then I had a friend that had some shoulder surgery, so I volunteered to do that for her so she could actually function. So I went to her house and chopped up a whole bunch of veggies. Now this is so big that I'm going to chop this down the middle in 3 or 4 chops, lengths, 3 or 4 of those. And traditionally in a Cabbage Patch type soup, carrots don't get to go in, but I'm not doing an exact Cabbage Patch soup because carrots have a lot of sugar in them. So I think I'm gonna go with maybe just half of this again, and I'll put the other half in the fridge with this. This is, I'm hoping I get a larger knife for Christmas that's chef size for here, because I have Cutco knives all at home, but here I have this. I could buy more, but I'm like, dude, I've got so many knives. This one, but this does not hold right in my hand, and it's kind of wobbly, so I don't use it as often. It's what I grew up with my parents. Mom had them, but okay. So I'm adding peppers. These are the sweet mini peppers that Costco has bags of, so I just buy some of those. Sorry, now I'm sniffling all over the place. I mean, dig me in a little bit. And I don't care if these are too perfect of pieces. It's just soup. I'm not trying to win a contest of how pretty it is. All right, one of these things is a really nice thing to have for scraping vegetables off of the cutting board. So I'm just throwing this in. No rhyme, no reason, just throwing it in because it's soup. And I don't need to worry about the stacking part of it. But because I'm gonna do a little bit of the chicken, I'm gonna heat that up. I'm gonna saute the other two pieces, but I'll show you how to use the air fryer for it if you don't want to do that. Okay, didn't need that. So here's the chicken that I'm gonna use, but before I do that, and as this is heating up, I got this big old cabbage, and that's all I had. I wanted to make some cabbage rolls and do a video on that, but I'm not going to be able to if I use this, so I'll have to do that later. I heard a tip on cabbage rolls that you can actually freeze your whole head of cabbage and then peel it off individually. And I usually just make sauerkraut and all kinds of stuff with this, but I usually rinse it off. But if you take the outer leaves on, it's nice and clean on the inside. So I'm only going to use about maybe a third, maybe more than a third of that, a little bit more. Just some cabbage. It does shrink, so this is getting hot. I'll throw some Johnnies on this, and I'm almost out of that, so I'm going to use the rest of it. And I don't worry about getting this on it because I'm throwing this out. But well, let's see. Should I put Nature's Dash in there? Why not? Okay, so I'm going to use a little bit of the chicken fat. By the way, this is also called schmaltz. And you can put this in your biscuits. And I've got a little blurb on there, a tip about it. You can use this stuff to put in your biscuits or your dumplings. So that's how those are going. Alright. Top. Back to the grindstone here. This is a rough top on this cabbage because it shrinks. And again, that just goes in the pot. I lost some down there. I wish you could see me loading the pot with this before, at least see the loading process. I already got some in there. Watch me dump it all over. Sorry. That's fine. Okay. I did throw it out there. So this makes a nice bed for your chicken to set on. And I'll toss in, show you how to do the air fryer lid real quick, so you don't have to do that process. Okay, I'm going to put some of this Italian seasoning in there. All that, some salt, some pepper, a teaspoon of salt and a half, or not, and then about a half a teaspoon of pepper, throwing that in, and we're going to put this stewed tomatoes. Oh, Mary, should have cut them off. Just for the sake of time, I won't be too particular on that soup today. I have tomatoes. Okay, so that goes in. All right. So what I'm going to do here over in the back of the air fryer is I'm just going to put the lid on. First you have to take the steam off the bottom. Put the lid on. It fits right on there. And when you're ready, I need to go back and get my chicken over there that's cooking. But when you're ready, you set it on air fry. Air fry. And you can do about 15 minutes on this. And I've got it on 400 degrees, which I don't want to change. So I'm going to go ahead and do the 15 minutes and turn it on. That's how you do the air fryer chicken. And when you're done with that, you don't even need to, what am I doing here? You know, when you're done with that, you don't even need to add chicken or add anything else. You just flip the lids and turn the pressure cook on, which is right there. And I'm going to go for 4 minutes at that point, because 4 minutes is going to cook that chicken if I leave it naturally released for about a half hour. So I need to get a different tripod, so I'm going to do that later. But for now, I've got that thing turned on, and I've got this cooking just to give it a brown thing. And I'll take that out, all of it out, and chop it up and put it back in the soup when the soup's done. So I'll come back and show you. Put this right on top of here because that other chicken is pretty fresh too. And so see all that fat that's there? It doesn't go in your soup. That's kind of why I like to brown stuff first. But you can brown it in the IP, and then you can strain it all off later if you want. Or add some dumplings to it and not worry about it. So I'll be back. How's that? I'll come back and do the rest of this later. I'm cleaning up, and I forgot. But I like to put bay leaves in there too. So set that back on there because I didn't want juices to go down on that other chicken. I don't know. probably gonna pitch it this time because I got juice on it, but you know, could use it for, I have used this for salad, for chicken salad. So that's enough for tonight. Then I need to, sometimes I save it and it gets hard in the refrigerator, and then you can use it for your biscuits in the morning if they're savory or whatever. But I'll be back. I like the edit button. You can splice things together and take stuff out. Pretty cool. This is another tip. If you don't want to keep your fat, just put it in a can. You can put a paper towel in there to soak it up if you want to, and toss it in the trash. Don't put this stuff down the sink. That's clogged pipes are not fun. Ours always used to clog up right at Thanksgiving for some reason. Okay, the other thing I forgot to mention is that if you don't want to mess with the fat on this and you want to save the broth, you don't want to mess with it right now, you can put this in the refrigerator and just knock it off the top when you're ready to use it. Another thing is people have used bread to soak it up, but I don't like wasting my bread. I just deal with it this way. Okay, that's my turn food notice. So it's been about 15 minutes. I'm gonna just check it, see how nice and brown that is gonna get. I think that's good enough. Yeah, you're calling for the lid. Okay, so just pop it on that. And then I'm gonna add the chicken to this and smush it down a little bit so that it's nesting in there. Some of those veggies got nice and crisp too. So they'll create their own liquid. And then we shall see what this looks like when we open it up. I'm gonna show you how to just swap the lid out. Here's the other lid. Okay, put that down on there. Remember the ears and the handle hole line up like that, and then just turn it on. It's saying lid. So pressure cook. I'm changing it, changing the setting. You have to push cancel, then pressure cook. And I don't want it to go for 2 hours and 4 minutes like my broth, so I have to go down to, I'm just gonna go to 4 minutes on this and then let it naturally release for a half hour, and I bet you it's just perfect. 4 minutes just seems to be my magic number for chicken cacciatore, French onion soup, and all kinds of other good things. So here we go, down to 4. Sorry. 4. All right, on. Don't forget on. Okay. By the way, I clean this off right away. I take a rag. This is the air fryer lid, and it's still nice and hot. So I like to take a rag that's not wet and not just barely damp. I like got some liquid to it, and wipe it off right away. Then you don't have to worry about it, because otherwise it'll cake on there. So this is about 2 years old. So I just put it back on, and it seems the best way to go. There is a thing, warning, but I just line the back of this up somewhere around here and put it on, and it stays. So then it goes back up above. Up there. I'm tied to everything. Got my cords plugged in. See, it's way up there with my wok. Okay. And then another tip to show really fast. I'm sure you guys have your own methods, but to get rid of this, oh, whoops. I'm gonna throw that liquid in there. I gave half of it to the other pot. This is cooled down some, but not enough. Anyway, I'm gonna stuff this in here. And then I use a paper towel, my little scraper thingy. Since it's too hot to handle still. Anyway, you get the gist of it. Use a paper towel, clean up the rest, and then I'm done. And there we go. We have 4 good cups of chicken broth, nice rich chicken broth for tomorrow's pork stuff. I'm not doing it tonight. One more tip about cast iron is if you have a couple of spots on there that's a little bit sticky, you just take some salt, some kosher salt, and just scrub it off. And it doesn't hurt the cast iron one bit. In fact, it likes it. See? There we go. One other thing that I forgot to mention about the Instant Pot is that normally it can take 5 to 7 to 10 minutes to heat up depending on your model. Okay, so if you have soup in there though, it can take twice as long to get that built up to pressure, because the more stuff you have in it, the less room it has, and it has to build up a little more pressure to lift that valve up. Okay, we're back for the soup. And look what I found. I went to the grocery store and I got some fresh herbs I was gonna put in there, and I totally spaced it. So you can do that if you want to. But this still has the pin popped up, and it's been 33 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and vent it the rest of the way. Watch the pin pop down. There it goes. So when it goes down, it's free to turn and open. Open it away from you so that you don't get burnt, because that steam's hot. And I use the ear. Ooh, and it smells so good. Oh, yum. Look at that. Okay. So we have, look at this. That's just gonna be delicious soup. What I'm gonna do though, because I want us to have chicken in it, not chicken with it. So I'm gonna just put this over here, let it cool, and then take the meat off the bones. And I'll show you this meat once I get done to show you that it is cooked. There's 4 of them. I have to figure out where they are. Yeah. Oh, I wish you guys could smell this. Ken likes soup night. I mean, you can add more cabbage, more celery, more onion, more carrots, more veggies if you want, but this is just a really fast and easy way, and it's just one I just wanted to show you how this pot works. Ooh, sorry. Let me get my knife and chop one of these open. Oh, look at that. That is like so done. It's almost as soft as the other stuff was, and this was just this was air fried or crisped up on that and then thrown in here. And the time was set for 4 minutes. Look at that. And 33 minutes natural release. So this soup's ready to eat. All I gotta do is get the meat off the bones. And I'll probably take that skin off. Sometimes I chop the skin up and put it in there depending on what kind of soup it is. So I'll talk to you later again. Wait. Bye. Okay, I was gonna taste this. do that. Hot. You know what? It is not there yet, so it needs some salt, sugar, but I have this other thing I do. Better than bouillon. Reduced sodium. Where is it? Hello? There you are. Reduced sodium. Better than bouillon. Chicken. This is from Costco. So I'm gonna put maybe a tablespoon. I'm sorry, I gotta put you down somehow. Better next time. Okay. About a tablespoon. That's what I'm thinking. I could use a little bit more. That's close to a tablespoon. It's not quite, but close. And that will give it the extra flavor that I'm looking for. And it has a little bit of sweetened flavor. The other thing is you could put more tomatoes in. That could kick it up, and the cabbage is also sweet, and so are the onions, so those could add more. So this is just a basic recipe for you. I think I got that all stirred in. We'll taste one more time, and I did get my bay leaf put in one more time. It's good, but I'm going to put in a little bit more salt, so about a 1/4 teaspoon more salt. And then it's good. So can you see how this would be a healthy soup? A good healthy soup, wintry kind. Put potatoes in there if you want. Brussels sprouts, zucchini. I use all kinds of veggies in there. So this is just a place to start. Okay, so it's time to eat pretty soon. This has been on low for quite some time. And I took all the meat off the bones. So I'm putting it all back in there. I'm really wanting some more tomatoes, but see how that just kind of makes itself into a nice soup when you put the chicken back in there. All right. So, who's gonna make this? I'm thinking I want some more. I did put a little more Italian seasoning in there. Let me see. Oh, that's really good. You could put spinach in here. I could see you can put navy beans, black beans. You could put corn in there, broccoli, whatever. Anyway, this is it's a great soup. Have a good night, you guys. Falling half, under half of what was expected, dropping to 50,000 expected, 210,000.